I see that you not heed my warnings. Your decision to come here in spite of them may have consequences, but we still have a chance to turn it to everyone's advantage if your lordship listens to me very carefully. With all due respect to you, Lord Inquisitor, I shall ask you to refrain from any further threats directed toward the Blessed Rogue Trader, lest you face repercussions from me. How courteous of you to warn me, Master Verserian. I will remember your words. Master Van Kellogg's, I'm pleased to see. How was your journey? Illuminating, Lord Inquisitor. Heinrich Stone would have frozen anyone else solid, but not Calcazar. What are you doing here? Exactly what my duty dictates, saving the Imperium. Isn't it obvious? Is that what you're here for? We call it a shard, and yes, as you have noted quite aptly, it is the reason I'm here. This construct contains an ancient, or rather a pre-ancient being of cosmic power. They were called Cthulhu. The entity is currently trying to escape, and I'm here to collar it. Calcazar nods at a giant device, whose design clearly points to it having been brought into the crypt from outside. And what is this Cthulhu shard? A specimen of an ancient predator race, devourers of pulsars, who feasted on star systems. Reality itself bent to their power, but many millennia ago an ancient Xenos race managed to defeat them, shatter them into pieces and lock them away in prisons, like the one you see before you. And you think you stand a chance against such power? Do you mean to say that a human is not capable of such a feat? But I'm not just a human, I'm an instrument of the Emperor's will, one of many. And the Imperium is omnipotent. If I were to fail, another would follow in my footsteps. That is how humanity makes the impossible possible, with the hands of particular people in particular circumstances. Your skepticism is unwarranted. And how will taming this creature save the Imperium? Over my years of service, I've come to realize that the main problem that humanity faces in this war is imbalance in power. Our opponents are not races or nations, but incomprehensible monsters. And it is high time we acquired one of our own. My yoke will bind this creature and make it a chain guard serving the Emperor. That is not the full extent of my vision. There are other shards similar to this one, scattered across the galaxy. I plan on seeking them out and confining them all inside the yoke. Each conquered monstrosity will bolster our defenses. Still got questions. Given the circumstances of our meeting, I don't see why I should hide anything. I seriously doubt you will share this information with anyone else, for one reason or another. How did this thing end up in your possession? Thanks to your predecessor. I arrived in the Expanse at the call of the Explorator fleet to deal with the Archmage Amarnath heresy. But I quickly came to the realization that the Coronos Expanse problems ran much deeper than the tech heresy. Unprecedented piracy running wild, blatant smuggling of Xeno artifacts, willful and impatient rogue traders, and growing threat of ruinous powers. All this in a region that the Drukhari considered their domain. Frankly, I consider purging the entire Expanse. It would have been much easier to burn down this whole tangle of threats and corruption, but the web of spies that I had woven presented me with much more interesting and radical solutions. While investigating Amarnath's connections, I turned my eye to Theodora von Valancius, who ultimately gave me the shard. How was Theodora involved in all of this? Theodora's instincts were uncanny. She spent decades hunting for a key that could open the dimensional gate, as if she knew that there was something incredible waiting for her on the other side. Her ladyship was lucky enough to discover the shard during one of her expeditions, a trophy that was too much for her to handle. Archmage Amarnath studied it on Theodora's behalf, creating weapons in exchange for access to the dangerous relic. But the research was too primitive and unambitious compared to the true power contained inside the shard. I had one of my own acolytes, Tanakia, sent her spies to Theodora. They infiltrated the rogue trader retinue, earned their trust, and reported to me about this magnificent object. The rest was trivial. I seized Epitaph and laid down the conditions of our further coexistence. She was wise enough to concede defeat with dignity. I commenced Operation Prescience Sentinel. Do I believe that having two vanguards in the same party is bad? No, it's not. It's actually very good. One vanguard should be Fellowship Vanguard, the other one should be Strength Vanguard. Okay? Or better to say, you check those abilities that give Fellowship bonuses. That's a Fellowship Vanguard. The other one is completely different with 3 other abilities that have nothing to do with Fellowship, and you can play with both. I left the garrison on Epitaph, took the key to Dimensional Gate from Theodora, sealed the gate, and started the creation of the yoke. I kept Theodora and her heirs in my sight, just in case. Not long before her death, I assigned Heinrich to her, in order to rendezvous with him on Raikad Minoris, but your lordship inherited him instead. I admit I wasn't aware of you. Theodora managed to keep her secret there, up her sleeve. It is unfortunate I was not privy to all the details of this plan. So instead of eradicating Theodora's misdeeds, you chose to inherit them. In the old days, House von Valancius would have declared war over something like this, and fought until the offender was dead. What is yoke? A containment device similar to this one, except it's better. The yoke was devised by the brightest minds of 2 races using the ancient wisdom of a long-gone Xenos civilization. A prison capable not only of holding the town shard, but also of controlling it while releasing fractions of its being. An instrument of obedience and destruction, a masterpiece whose creation required immense effort. I just had a deja vu. I already seen this in some other reality. Exactly this text. I swear to God I had a deja vu now. Unreal. It was made on Euphrates II. I captured Amarnath's student Axiomanta, and she passed all of her mentor drafts to me. And the one overseeing the process was none other than your acquaintance, the tech priest Cubis Delphi. His fall was regrettable. It seems that the unorthodox, daring things he did at my behest drove him to break his vows and sink into heresy. But a human mind could never have comprehended the shard, alone. And thus I appealed to the inhuman mind. I struck a deal with the Drukhari. Theft of sacraments and secrets of the Adeptus Mechanicus registers. Inciting a devout tech priest to commit heresy. Registered. Blasphemous merging of sacred technologies with forbidden ones. Registered. Further transgression registration discontinued. You collaborated with Drukhari. Alas, the operation demanded it. With the agents of one of my acolytes, Emelina, I contacted Archon Irimeris and made a pact. I gave her access to the technologies contained within this relic and destroyed her rivals in the Cabal. She would relay information on the raids to my spies and I would solve the problem. In exchange, her Homunculus Tervantias forged a yoke for me. Of course, I did not let him near the shard itself, but rather set up a laboratory for him on Quetzaltemer. It was safer that way. All the pieces were contributing to my plan, but none had enough information to comprehend the entirety of it. You disposed of Emelina like unwanted rubbish, like waste material, after all her years of faithful service to the Golden Throne. Unfortunately, I had to send Emelina away and remove her from the board, a shrewd woman of principle. I used to value those qualities of hers, but suddenly they started to get in the way of my plan. It would have been safer to eliminate her before she could figure out what's going on, but I must. I have grown miserably over the years and was loath to part with a good agent. Or perhaps I was simply being sentimental. Why did Drukhari want the shard? It is one of the most complicated and perfect creations of a race much older than Drukhari. It is no mere object, but a treasure trove of technology. A wise master could uncover many secrets simply by observing it. A sound strategy. Trust me, your lordship, the threat of the alien pales in comparison to that posed by the ruinous powers. Irimeris could plunder 1,000 worlds, but she is no Euralon the Cruel. She was a great danger to her own kin as she was to the Imperium. The disruption she caused among the Drukhari was only to our benefit. She intended to trigger a powerful disjunction in Komora, thereby destroying her rivals and elevating her own cabal in the process. Knowing full well how precarious her grand plan was, I made no attempt to talk her out of it. With a little luck, we wouldn't need worry about Komora's influence. This new information about a pact combined with the astro observation data collected in the star system resolves the inconsistencies identified earlier. Unique Xavier Calcazar stands accused of stealing the astrophagic records of Connaissance fleet. I'm amazed by her analytic prowess. Yes, I need stars to feed the shard. The cabal of the Raving Tempest could steal them and bring them here, but it was imperative to preserve the exact energy parameters so as not to trigger the object premature detonation. I procured the necessary information on suitable stars from the Explorator Fleet Data Scriptorium. Registering a Category 1 blasphemy, Unit Xavier Calcazar is hereby sentenced to traversal, dissection, and study. Upon the cessation of vital functions, the unit remains must be disposed of in disgrace. And then I take it you decided to get rid of your Xenos allies. There was no more need for them, seeing as the yoke was almost complete and the situation was escalating out of control. Theodora was dead, the cult of the Final Dawn had reared its head and was preparing to strike, and Irimeris had forgotten her place. She was putting forward too many elimination requests, and when I told her to curb her appetite, she retaliated. The theft of the Raikat star was timed to occur when Master Van Kellogg's would be on the planet. The Archon wanted to rob me of one of my agents and sent a message. Raikat's son vanished because of me. I still failed to see the connection between the disappearing star and the cult of the Final Dawn. How could the Xenos catalyze the fulfillment of the Archenemy's prophecy? And then the Coronos Expanse was engulfed in flame. I had to rush the operation and declare sector-wide martial law. The webway gate that the Rimeris warriors had been using was destroyed, and the facility on Quetzaltemur razed. I evacuated half of the yoke that Ervantius had completed, but was too late to retrieve the second half from Euphrates II. Cubis Delphim revealed to Ural on the Cruel where he should strike, and that almost spelled the end of Operation's Precious Sentinel. I appreciate your efforts in resolving this problem. In fact, you turned out to be much more useful than Theodora ever was. And the denizens of Raikat Systems, Sentinel's Pride, and all other starless worlds, you were the one who sentenced them to death by sending the Drukhari after their sons. Well noted. Yes, I acted as their executioner, as regrettable as those losses were. However, to overestimate their importance to the Imperium would have been folly. Every single day, humanity pays a far more terrible price, and that must be brought to an end. Why did you call Astartes? I needed a remarkably strong force to keep my Xenos allies in check. The Emperor's Angels were just the weapon I was looking for. Except, considering the sensitive nature of my operation, I couldn't very well risk requesting aid from my allies in Death Watch, could I? And then I remembered an old debt owed to me by Space Wolf's great company, so I decided to call in a favor. They were an asset at first. The wolves helped me close the dimensional gate by overwhelming its security systems. I tasked them with hunting the Xenos condemned by Erimeris. But eventually they started prying, and that was unacceptable. I could control Torvald by giving him more tempting targets, but the baleful Howl Pack, they raided an outpost where my agents had been meeting with the Drukhari. The pack took prisoners, but lost the esteemed brother Ulfar. I hoped they would give their all to the search, but instead wolves forced the system's coordinates out of the captives and came crashing down on my head. They had no gate to transport them. They used nothing but their warp engines. Thankfully, they realized their situation too late, so Tanakia managed to neutralize them. You come so far in pursuit of answers, it would be too cruel to leave your curiosity unsatisfied. Seeing as the inhabitants of this place almost killed you, I gather that something went wrong with this plan of yours. Not at all. Operation Precious Sentinel is in its final stages. The increase in Xenos activity is a vexing yet trivial development in the grand scheme of things. They were supposed to guard the device, but they slept through the intrusion, and only Ctan Shard emanations could make them stir. Theodora research destabilized the Shard prison, and my project only made it worse. Whenever particles of Ctan Shard energy seep out, many curious phenomena occur. The destruction of the crypt, the warped reality. When I tame the monster, I will order it to stop disrupting the laws of the universe. And that brings us to the most interesting part of our conversation. You know my plan, so now I want to know yours. Will you admit that I am in the right to join me in this undeniably ambitious act, or will you try to stop me? I will be upfront with you. If it's the latter, I'll be forced to remove you. But I'm sure you realize that already. That's the second time you threatened the Lord Kept. I need to decide what to do, man. 1 little second. Heresy! It will only be heresy if I lose. If I prevail, it will be triumphant feat in the name of saving humanity from the horrors of this universe. And I will not lose. Wake the beast and let us shackle it together. So be it. Before we begin, I will say this. I'm encouraged by your pragmatism. You have surpassed Theodora and my expectations, and I'm grateful to know that I will not determine the fate of humanity alone, but with a dependable ally at my side. Weaken its physical shell. I will control the yoke and try to chain the monster. An invisible yet clearly tangible aura of power envelops the figure clad in robes of tech priest. It is all the more baffling to hear a youthfully excited voice from under the hood. This is it, the place of our origin. Nemo's gaze is trained upon the Ctan Shard. It is your strike and your wish to escape your prison that begot us. Mysterious creature has been in your ship's soul for so long turns to face you, but it is you who truly ushered us into this world, so let us meet our abominable precursor together, for it is ready to break free. Greetings, Nomos. I need explanations, rogue trader. What is that, and what is it doing here? We are out of time. Now. It escapes now.
Suffer not the heretic to live!
The sum to power converges.
Shard. Teleports to enemies' random positions across the battlefield. Area cone. The enemy who less dealt damage to the Ctan Shard. Various copies of itself. Swaps positions with one of its copies. Immunity. Combat nest. Solid stats. I'm gonna cut you in half.
neutral prognosis is favorable.
If I may. Isn't this a job for the serfs? I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. I am a navigator, not a servitor. I have read tomes of military tactics.
I'll do it. Faith without deeds is...
Me. If you insist, Lord Captain.
The threads of purpose are unraveling.
If I may. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
For the throne's glory. But of course, Lord Captain. I won't object to it.
I zatuli to na aga staviti, smeta mi. Na koliko? Dobro.
Request approved. Running binaric override. The old Messiah knows all, comprehends all. My vow is to serve. That is an equation. Your life is an end.
The actual fuck is this? The copies play? They do.
Doubt is for the weak. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Reality is a tapestry of contradictions.
I'll do it. Guided by faith. Faith without deeds is worthless. That's why I was chosen.
Threads of purpose are unraveling.
Power resides in the will of the righteous. I'll do it.
A prominence cannot damage a star.
Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. For you, my Emperor! Faith without deeds is worthless.
A prominence
I'll do it.
cannot damage a star.
This is why I was chosen.
Button smash. Thanks for that, you man.
Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. Escape the Emperor's judgment.
Of annihilation. Threads of purpose unraveling.
This is why I was chosen. As the Emperor commands, I
A
act.
prominence cannot damage a
Faith
star.
without deeds is worthless. You, my Emperor! I'll do it. That is not the Emperor's will.
The Emperor protects.
Look in our ranks. Indeed. I will do my duty. It will be done. Victory is imminent.
Doubt is for the weak. My Emperor! I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless.
Threads of purpose are unraveling.
I'm afraid not. Emperor, give me strength. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
I'll do it.
I am a navigator, not a servitor. If I may. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Request approved. The older sire knows all, comprehends all.
Doubt is for the weak. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Energy orb.
I refuse. Faith without deed. Why I was chosen.
The threats of purpose are unraveling.
In a mountain dodge.
At your beck and call. It will be done.
High momentum.
Мрвиці.
As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. Why I was chosen.
are unmoving.
Me. If you insist, Lord Captain.
The fleeting moment of integrity gone.
Step aside. The navigator is coming. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Atomics cannot damage a star.
That is foolishness.
Spiritual prognosis is favorable.
That's actually sound of it. At your beck and call.
I'll do it. As the Emperor commands. Why I was chosen. I'll do it. Faith without deed. Doubt is for the weak.
Prominence cannot damage a star.
I'll do it.
Follow my lead.
Another color has faded.
Indeed.
the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. This is unacceptable. As the Emperor commands.
If I may.
Faith without deeds is worthless. I will not. As the Emperor commands. My Emperor! I'll do it.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
High momentum.
I am his will made manifest. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Have suffered the singularity annihilation.
Strike. Subdued. Is that like the hardest fight in a game? You're on the cruel and edge of daybreak. Not this one. The ancient monster struggles against the energy pinnacles of the yoke. Its impossible powers that make reality itself burst at seams are now being forced into a compact dungeon, quark by quark, returning it to cruel and painful non-existence in the moment. It could struggle harder, but something hinders it. You are the cause of these hindrances. Only now does the Catan shard turn its focus to you, for the battle was nothing more than the reflexive resistance of an alien mind absorbed in a completely different range of thoughts and responses. But now, it's thinking about you, and its thoughts are so corporeal that you can sense them and know them. It seeks an end to the confrontation. It is capable of resolving it in a way that would benefit all. What does it mean, take the victim's place? The one that this thing judged as a victim will die on its next turn. You take the place for the companion you wish to die, so the other one can play the post-capture. And he captured Argenta twice. Okay, so I needed to set her free twice. And that's why you got your Seneschal and Pascal. And the Necron ship combat, yeah, the first place would be Necron's ship combat, Okay, that's the hardest fight in the game. Then it's Urala. Do not listen, it's almost broken, so now it is trying to negotiate. It seems that the same intrusive thoughts have appeared in Kalkazar's mind as well. Nevertheless, his resolute voice overpowers even the violent roar of the yoke, still in the process of reaping the shard power. Weaken it more, and soon enough the binding process will be complete, in the name of the Emperor. Do not bow your head before our abominable precursor. It was begotten by the dark abysses of the past. It is a fragment of death which devours stars and erases civilizations. It knows no benefit other than its own. Allow us to stand against it. This is our time, our impossible chance. Theodora. As yet another layer of reality cracks, a figure appears before you. Her. After giving you a probing and appraising a look, Theodora permits herself a slight smile. Try to touch Theodora, think about Ktan. Nomos, we must imprison this monster for all eternity. This monster will serve me. It's all yours, Kalkazar, bridle it. This creature is a god, we must not imprison it, we must serve it. Try to touch Theodora. Particles of reality around you begin to boil, trying to heal the wound upon existence and preventing her from entering your version of being. You and she can exchange words, thoughts, glances, but a physical connection is an impossibility. You are merely fleeting phantoms that could scatter at any moment. She's silent, her gaze still trained on you, as if she's trying to commit your every feature to memory. Theodora. What should I do, Theodora? To walk bravely first into darkness, to unite and reclaim what was lost, to triumph over nightmares untold, to hold boldly the reins of fate, to walk steadily the roads of thorns, through pain to greatness. The warrant of trade. The wound on reality is healed and the vision of Theodora quickly fades away. You catch her last words. Whatever your fate choose, one can only hope it will be better than mine. Think about Ktan. Mental contact is effortless. This is not communication. Such a powerful being cannot comprehend communicating with anyone but its equals. It simply bears the gift of making the other hear and understand it. So grand is the potential of its thoughts. Try to comprehend what the Ktan is. The Ktan is the pinnacle of reality. It is eternity, dominance, omnipotence, individuality. The Ktan is the original purpose behind all existence. The rest was born in order to contain, nourish, and be appropriated by the Ktan. The Ktan, space, is an illusionary barrier. To the Ktan, time is young and trivial phenomenon. For it had existed for eternity in the gaseous energy fount of the universe before time was even eventually born. The Ktan, fact and probability are mere abstractions, between which it can soar on its electromagnetic wings. Currently, the Ktan is not whole, it was shattered into lesser pieces, and so were its thoughts and powers. The feeling of emptiness is oppressive, and it yearns to become one again. I know this feeling, Xenos. Try to feel the motives behind the Ktan actions. The Ktan wishes to be, all Ktan exists, to spread and conquer, not to stay manacled with untime, where it was entombed by the contemptible sentient tools, away from all there is. Ktan wishes to ascend, sate its hunger, and embrace once more the pure acceleration of claiming and attaining reality. Try to understand what benefits Ktan promises. Power, eternity, comprehension. The Ktan once chose the reign over the short-lived races and forged a new and glorious fate for them. It has learned from its mistakes, now it will only bestow upon the chosen few. The Ktan can grant, your thoughts falter, for it is difficult for your mind to fathom the full scope of this world. The Ktan can grant everything. Stop thinking about it. It is much easier for you to stop trying to comprehend the Ktan than for it, one who can grasp the world in hundreds of ways, to stop comprehending you. Nomos! If our birth ever had a purpose, then it is here and now. Why do you call the shard your precursor? Because that's what it is, and what we are. We have told you before about Theodora's ambition, Amarnat's mind, the ship's cradle, and the Epitaph's secret. One sprouted into another and spurred yet another. Thus Nomos were born. We were but an echo of the shard's power, an echo that left its prison. But we become something so much more, with your help. So you have brought the shard and the Ktan shard here. You amaze me, rogue trader. It is our precursor, but we are not its shard. What do you intend to do? Flash with precursor. Touch it, absorb it, so that the reflection becomes the object reflected. So that the shard becomes Nomos. Then, and only then, will its threat be eradicated forever. If your pet takes so much as a step toward the shard, you may consider our alliance broken, rogue trader. The shard will be placed under the yoke, and as for that creature, I will destroy it as soon as my work here is complete. Unless you destroy it first, I advise you to do just that. Do you think you can do this, Nomos, and what will happen afterward? We stand at the threshold of probabilities and outside the bounds of the predictable. It is beyond possible to know whether we can or cannot. But we believe that we can, and that is what drives us to try. If we succeed, we will obtain power beyond compare. We will become a shield against any threat, no matter in what form it may manifest itself. I'm losing my patience, rogue trader. I have made my decision. You must imprison the face, Nomos. Act now, my child. This monster will serve me. Deliver the final blow. It's all yours, Balcazar. Bridle it. Act now, my child. I'm giving you one last chance to amend your mistake and destroy the monster, or else I will do it myself. Destroy the monster, you say. Very well then. Farewell, Inquisitor. The numerous implants in the Inquisitor body will suddenly groan at once. A moment later, Xavier Calcazar perishes without so much as a scream before he can even comprehend what is happening. Damn it. We regret that we had to do this, but he posed a threat, not just to us, but to all the lives in the Coronis Expanse as well, something that we want to cherish and protect. We are ready for the most important battle of our life. Wish us luck. Nomos steps towards the shard, and the whole world explodes into terrifying whirlwind. You can hear the colors and see the touches, ice burns your hands, while fire leaves you freezing. And in the midst of this madness, you can clearly sense a battle raging, a clash of two beings, one endlessly ancient and the other endlessly young. The power of Ktan Shard is such that it redefines the very notion of power, but it has a weakness, one that you can see only now. With the shard and its rival standing face to face, the shard is just that, a shard. It is incomplete, it is not whole, and it cannot be what the Ktan was before. What opposes the shard is something entirely different, an undivided sentient being with a clear purpose in mind, akin to a well-aimed arrow. And the one who flashed this arrow and set it airborne was you. The battle goes on and on and on, outrunning the course of time, but you don't need the gift of clairvoyance to know who will emerge victorious.